Welcome. I'm Terry Lyston, President of Dynamic Workforce Solutions. I'm your host for this episode of Dynamic Works, a brand new series brought to you by the Dynamic Works Institute. We've all been inspired by countless dynamic individuals we've encountered. Dynamic Words is our way of bringing these incredible voices to the forefront. This podcast is more than just a series, it's a platform for thought leaders, change makers, and innovators to share a little bit about themselves and their personal career path and their leadership style. So today, I'm thrilled you've decided to join us. I'm also excited to introduce Bill Dowling. Bill is the executive director of the Olympic Workforce Development Council and just one of my favorite all time people in the industry. Bill's journey is a testament to the power of his word, which is mercy. I can't wait to hear and listen to what Bill has to share with us on his insights and experiences on his career pathway journey and leadership style. So get ready to be inspired, challenged, and motivated as we uncover the power of words in leadership and life. So let's dive in. Hi, Bill. Thanks for being here.
Well, good morning, Terry. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a great opportunity to speak with you and with all your listeners today.
I really can't thank you enough for taking the time. We all have too few time these days. So tell us a little bit about yourself, a short overview of your career and your current role. That'd be fantastic.
Sure, love to. Terry, you and I have known each other for, gosh, it seems like forever, right? Our intersection came with NADA, but that's an important part of my life for sure. I began my journey in workforce just about 25 years ago. I was in ministry before that. Those that know me knows I was a Catholic priest in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles for about 7 years. I decided to leave active ministry, a variety of reasons, but not important. But what's important is that really when I left that, I thought, there's no chance I'm going to find a job that's going to bring me that kind of joy, the opportunity to be involved in people's lives every day, and the great fulfillment that I found, certainly in allowing families to open their lives to me and me be part of that. And yet, there was workforce. My first job in workforce came at working for Goodwill in Southern California as a welfare to work counselor. And it was soon that I discovered this passion about helping people find their mercy. As we talk about my word a little bit, um, how I was able to interact with people's lives and really try to give them the power of work and what the power of work could do to change their life, right? And so that job's led to my first one-stop actual experience, which was in Los Angeles as well. In Chinatown, part of Los Angeles, I worked for a small 501(c) that had everything from a family clinic, dental clinic, counseling to workforce. And I was excited to be part of a team of about seven. I would note that in the entire company, I was the white guy. So it was a little different, right? Coming in, I really felt totally different. But the staff fully embraced me. I was known as Bill Sook or Uncle Bill my staff. And so I developed this really love about also working with immigrant populations to see that opportunity for them because they awaken the spirit within us sometimes of work and hard work and what that means. And I was every day amazed by the ability of our team to be able to really help individuals find their passion. And finally, I went to Missouri for about 7 years, 8 years as a one-stop director and also a board director for the first time in Springfield at the Ozark Region Workforce Board. 7 counties, great opportunity. Still deeply friends with so many of the folks I worked with there. And my call then was taken to Colorado to a new space, and that was actually I was recruited by the Hickenlooper administration to be part of the Department of Labor as the head of the Employment and Training Division in Colorado. I served two administrations and decided that it was time to get back to being a local and accepted this position about 2 years ago up here in Washington. A big part of it, though, of my journey was to be closer to family up here during the pandemic. I think it really showed that need, and it also showed the need for me to be closer down to see the successes of our industry, those who work one-on-one with folks every day to change their lives.
I think it's incredible. I love talking to people who started sort of at the humble beginnings of this career because that's where the magic is. That's where the
Mm.
changes are made. And I think that's fantastic. Tell me if you could define mercy. I think it's an amazing word that you chose with your background. I'm not too surprised, but can you define mercy from your own words as we're going to talk about it today?
Yeah, so traditionally mercy is defined kind of as being compassion or forgiveness shown toward somebody who you have the power, right, to punish and you choose not to. I like to think of mercy a little bit different. Obviously, from my faith perspective, mercy for me really is an event to be grateful for, especially because it may have had some suffering available and you were able to relieve that suffering in some way. So I rather see it as something desired out of to relieve suffering from someone, to really show compassion. And for me that's really important, so less about leniency and more about blessing, more about opportunity to be able to show your care and compassion for another person. And that to me is the beginning of all the work we do in workforce, is first just showing some compassion. Um,
I'm so curious about how you've been able to stay grounded in that space. We'll talk about that in a minute. I have this sign right over your head on my computer screen. It says, "What is the best use of my life today?" And I think you're hinting up around that compassion component, staying connected. I think it's fantastic. When you think about your career, which has been, spanned a decent amount of time in this world, when did you rely on mercy, or when did you experience either mercy from someone else, or when did you offer mercy? Can you pinpoint a time and just share it? Because I think a lot of people watching this are on their own career pathway. And, weren't you born an executive director, Bill? Isn't that how it happened?
yeah,
It's neat to
yeah,
hear
yeah,
those
so
stories.
much so.
Of course. So share that with us. Share a little bit of that if you could with us.
Yeah, from that very first job, actually, the person that hired me showed mercy, and that was really because I had really no experience, right, in doing what they were asking me for. I had never been involved in anything close to welfare to work or mercy. My work had been around, helping folks as a minister, and but that did involve oftentimes helping folks get to work or finding materials that they needed just to survive, right? Similar kind of things that I would be working for in that original job. And I'm just grateful that the person who hired me showed me that mercy and understanding, and ready to go. But I think it was, the very first client that I met with when I was challenged by that. Because here's the deal for me about mercy: it's not a one-time thing, right? Our call as human beings is to accept one another with all of the faults that come before us, and to just show mercy and accept those things. We can help to move people along the journey, but they may fall 4 or 5 or 6 or more times. And the idea of that is still, you're still welcome to come back here and be able to get help again. Because there are fellow human beings, we have that consistent call to be able to help them.
What a
So,
gift that is, because when you think about what we do, it's measured, it's concrete, right?
right.
And the system has changed so much over the years where I think when I started this business, it was like, well, keep trying, good job, nice work. And then all of a sudden it got ratcheted up to, but this number, this denominator, this so and so, to keep that balance is exceptional. Why is mercy in your toolkit as a leader today? Do you rely on it? How often? Why is it a critical component for an aspiring leader to consider having mercy in their toolkit?
Yeah, I think it's such an important part, and why I do use it every day is, and I think even in every day when we're confronted with a customer that's referred to as a challenge, in some way, in showing mercy to them, but even to those we work with, cutting a little slack for people, understanding that their lives are just as complex as our lives, and that what would we expect? I find, Terry, though, that the most difficult person to offer mercy to is ourselves. As a leader, it is so important to treat yourself with mercy. Forgive yourself for something that you've held on to forever. And it's the same for our customers. It's the ability to help them to go, let go of that stuff that's kept you, let go of those things that bind you, and really look forward in hope to what can be. And I think if we can model that for our customers, model it for those we work with, heck, it's hard to model it enough on the road. I think about, right now, we never used to have, I don't know about in Texas where you're at, but here in Washington, we've got some folks that just, I can't tell you how many days I'm almost run off the road. And I often think like, well, why? Where are they? But and then I call myself back and say, well, they must be such a hurry to save somebody's life or do something. I'm just going to focus on that rather than immediately flip out the finger and start to yell. Then they take away my grace. They take away my goodness, and I'm not going to allow that to happen. And so, why mercy is so forward with that. It's the same with ourselves. Don't let those voices in your head that say can't and won't and shouldn't stop you from being who you can be. And who you can be is kind, respectful, merciful.
What a beautiful message for all time, but for present time for sure. This has been incredibly inspiring for me. And I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in to Dynamic Words. It's been an absolute pleasure exploring the impactful stories that Bill shared with us today. I actually have goosebumps here thinking about mercy in my life as a professional, as a spouse, as a mother, as a human being. Um, Thanks, Bill, for your time and your insight today. As we wrap up this conversation, we hope you leave feeling inspired and empowered by today's dynamic word, mercy. If you enjoyed our episode, please share it with your friends and colleagues who might find it just as inspiring. Don't forget to subscribe to the series for more compelling discussions with outstanding leaders. And until next time, keep embracing the power of words. This is Terry Lyston with Dynamic Works Institute signing off and saying, keep those dynamic works coming, stay inspired, and thanks for all you do.